Hello folks, welcome to Passive Income with Rentals. My name is Jana Cristo and today we're gonna talk about cash flow, how to calculate the cash flow for rental property and where to get the numbers that you need in order to have a good result. So how do you find if the rental you're considering is cash flow positive? Well, I have a secret and I have it right here, secret recipe for that. The first thing you're going to do, actually I have to mention that only my cheesecake recipe is secret. This is actually a formula for calculating cash flow and it's widely available. I'll even link to our rental calculator in the description below. Let's look at all the ingredients. For example, rent price. A lot of investors have problem finding the rental prices because rented prices are not as widely available as sales prices. They're not listed in any website publicly other than the MLS, and that's not public. So one way to figure out what a good rental price would be is to either call a couple of property managers and ask them, and also to just verify their numbers, you can look in Zillow and find comparables to your property. And when I'm saying comparable, I mean if your property is 4-bedroom, look for 4 bedrooms. That seems to be a lot more important in rentals than it is for sale prices, because a tenant who has a larger family would not consider a 3-bedroom comparable to 4. So those are the two ways you can find the rent price. Also, there are a couple of websites. One is rentometer.com. My experience with that is that it's not as accurate. In fact, Zillow has better rent estimates than Rentometer, but that may be just in my area. So once you find the rent price, then what you need to discover, it's my dog here, what you need to discover is the expenses. And we'll start with vacancy loss. Currently in our area that's around 3%, but this may be different in your area or the market could change. So the best thing to do is call property managers in your area and ask them what is the average vacancy loss. I'm considering purchasing a property and I need to find what that is, and they will tell you. Another ingredient is the repair and maintenance and capex expenditure. This is actually, there are 2 rules of thumb that will help you determine what that is. And one is $1 per square foot. For example, if your house that you're purchasing is 2,000 square feet, your annual expenses would be 2,000. Another rule of thumb would be to get 1% of the purchase price. Again, if the purchase price is $200,000 and 1% of that is 2,000. So you can use those. Are those extremely accurate? No, they just estimate. It will be good enough for you to find out what your cash flow is going to be. Next is utilities. Consider if you, and this is only if you're paying utilities. If you're not paying utilities, just ignore that. Taxes. Taxes easy to find. You can go to tax collector or property appraiser website. In many areas, you can actually get an estimate of what your taxes are going to be when you purchase the property, and that could be different than previous taxes. For example, and I'll talk about Florida only. In Florida, if you live in the property, you have homestead exemption, which is $50,000 and it's taken off the assessed value of the property, and you pay taxes based on that. So if you purchase the property as an investor, your taxes would be different. Your taxes are going to be based on a new assessed value. So very important to verify that number. Insurance. Insurance is, you can find by talking to an insurance agent or call the listing agent and ask her, what do you think I will pay for insurance? If they're active enough, they'll give you an estimate. Again, that's an estimate. And next on my ingredient list is homeowner association fee. My personal advice to you is don't buy a investment property in area that has high homeowners association fees. And the reason for that is those, especially in Florida, and I'm not going to talk about other areas, but in Florida those could be quite high, and especially in condo fees, you don't have control over those. They can increase based on assessments. So this year your cash flow might be okay, but next year or in a couple of years you may have negative cash flow. So my advice, if you can help it, it's really difficult to find a newer property in area that's not in deed restricted community, but it's possible. And the last one is not the last one, the ingredient that's most easy to find is the mortgage payment, and that would be principal and interest, and you can figure this out by talking to your lender or use a calculator. That's easy to find. And then the last one is property management fee. Those fees are optional. However, I would urge you to include property management fees because first, at some point you may move, you may not be able to manage your property, and if that's the case, you're going to have to pay property management fee. So, and also somebody is going to be doing this job, whether it's going to be you or somebody else. You have to be paid for your time, so include that. And once you have once you gather all the ingredients and you ascertain all the ingredients are good, then you start mixing them. The formula is very easy. Rent income minus expenses equals cash flow. And make sure when you're considering rent income, you include late fees, if you're gonna be charging pet fees, moving fees, all of that. So that's it, very simple.